Awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much. It is such a pleasure to get a chance to speak to the entire Midwest region, to get a chance to speak to the CSP core out there in particular. And, when I talked to Jeff, he was really wanting me to just kind of bring a perspective from our division, from my experience on really how to maximize your events, the results that you're getting at events. And so there's certain themes that you're going to hear me kind of reference as we go through all this about community, about policy, about structure, about stability. But I really wanted to take it more from a perspective of kind of how have I been able to develop myself over the last few years. Just what Josh said, what have I learned from all these interactions that I've had working with literally just some of the best in the business, and by being able to kind of elevate my own game and raise my level, how that's impacted kind of our overall focus on events. We'll just say that. And so, I kind of want to structure this in such a way where it really could be applicable to everyone in here, whether you're a coordinator or you're someone that's just active on the team. And in the process of that, hopefully we'll check as many boxes as we can, because I'm sure some of you guys, I could just talk policy with you for an hour and it'd be great. But some of you are really more interested in, hey, how can I grow my sales from 175,000 a year to 250,000 a year? And what would that actually look like to take that kind of leap? The reality is we've seen that so many times in the last few years that I definitely think I have a great perspective I can bring to that. So kind of like Josh mentioned, as far as an intro goes, I'm a rep, I'm a coordinator, I'm a manager, but I got to tell you, I have so much respect for what CSPs do. I have a true love affair with the sales rep opportunity, which is why I still do it at this time. For me, I don't have to be in the field selling. In fact, there's probably times my region manager, Lloyd, would be even more excited if I was sitting at my desk, but I love being in the field. I love the control that I have over my finances, my lifestyle. I love just the purest form of entrepreneurship that it represents, and so it's something that I am super passionate about. So I'm excited to get a chance to just share some of our keys that have really helped us grow. Our team motto in TGP is that we're humble and hungry. We know that we're good, but we never assume we have a monopoly on the right answer. And what that's done is that's made us very open just to best practices. And I think it's made us more adaptable. And I think adaptability is underrated, though, when you are working with a lot of independent business owners. As a result of this, I have been able to work with and help a lot of people on our team go from being, baby reps up to people that are producing $250,000, $300,000, $350,000 a year. And they're not doing it because of me, but I've definitely been able to help be a part of that journey. And I've tried to take the same approach myself. In my time as coordinator, I get a chance to work firsthand very closely with Josh Muller and Curtis Hughes and Jason and Seth Kinzer and Kelly Martins and John Israel and Chelsea Banks and so many other people, and just get a chance to see how they structure their business, how they structure their life. And it's really made me a student of high performers in the business. And I'm just excited to share some of those things that I have learned and some of those lessons here with the Giants in the Midwest region. Like I was mentioning before, guys, for me, I've tried to follow the same model in my own business, and getting a chance to learn and work with Josh and Curtis and John Israel and Chelsea Banks and Seth Kinzer and Kelly Martins and so many top people, it's just made me a student of high performers in the business. And that's really what we're going to get a chance to share with you guys. So to kind of give you a sense for my own little personal journey here, and then we'll just go through a few tips and a couple things to take notes on. I really feel like about 4 years ago, I kind of reinvented myself as a rep. And I think that when you've been doing anything as long as I have, as long as a lot of y'all have, that can be a hard thing to do. We have certain rhythms, there's certain things we know we're good at, but I decided to just sort of get humble and take a big step back and just look dispassionately at the numbers. I knew what I was good at, but what was happening around the horn? What was happening around the nation? And what were best practices? What was repeatable? And what would I need to do to implement it? And it was taking this greater spirit of just curiosity and humility. It is amazing how eye-opening it was to see how many great answers there were out there. And I was excited to discover that a lot of what was out there, I really just needed more time and focus applied to certain areas of my business to get a chance to really implement these things. Since that time, it's been an amazing time for me in my personal sales, and an amazing time for our events team as well. In the last 4 years, I've had 15 10K weeks. I actually had a string of 5 in a row row in 2016. I've had 6 20K weeks. I actually had 3 in a row this last fall, and even had a 30K week in there for good measure. And I don't share any of this to make myself feel great. I feel great anyway. I'm always doing great. But I share this just as evidence that even someone like me that was a DM, someone like me that wasn't focused solely on my sales, that by following this roadmap, these same steps, that you can implement yourself, that you can take to your events team, and that the Midwest region, really with leadership from the top, could adopt at a level that I don't think any other region is really killing. You guys could take this to the next level. You could have that quantum leap. But I've got to tell you, the biggest benefit for me, and then we'll just jump into this thing head first. The biggest benefit for me is what it's done for my confidence and my proficiency just on an average everyday type show. Like, it's great now knowing when I step into the rodeo, I'm gonna have a $15,000 week because it's a baller show and my skills have gotten me to that point. The structure we have with our events has allowed me to perform at that level. But what I think is even more exciting is that show that back in the day I used to sell $2,500 at, just a small show that was cheap and worth doing, well, all of a sudden that can be a $4,000 event. Those shows that were my top end shows back in the day where I could do $4 or $5 grand, there's no reason now that I shouldn't step in and be able to sell $8,000 in an event. And it's the consistency combined with the increased skills. That's the secret sauce. That's really what's taken me to the next level, and what we're going to get a chance to talk about today. So when we talk about how to really sell more in 2018, how to drive your events to a higher level, ultimately there's 2 main things you can do. You have to either increase your averages or you have to work more. Okay? And the reality is, I think most of us should probably be doing some combination of both. We all know that though, but that's just head knowledge. Okay? So let's talk about proven strategies that will improve your results if you commit to them. And again, these aren't what I figured out on my own. I went to the mountain of high performers. This is what I came back with. So if you get something good out of this, you can thank Josh at the end. And if you didn't, you can blame Seth Kins or someone else. Certainly not me. All right, so there's 4 keys that I wanted to share with you guys. 4 keys to have a breakout year, and this is true for your program as a whole, and this is true for each and every one of you individually. Okay, number 1, and again, this is the same type of tip we would give a new rep, but don't let this one slide by because I think this one is underrated. Number 1, we have to work a more consistent schedule. Okay, if you listen to the story of every great rep who achieved a new, exciting level in the business, you will almost always hear how it took a year where they really committed to grinding and increasing their workload. Okay, this is a trap I've seen a lot of my CSPs and TGP fall into. Brandon Brown, I got a chance to talk to him. We had a call here pretty recently, just going over a few things. And of course, he won a Silver Cup last year, but he won that not just by getting better. Okay, like people see how talented he is, but they're taking for granted how he worked substantially more than the previous years. And he did that work to achieve a new level in the business by increasing his workload and actually not taking it easy. Now, the exciting thing for Brandon and for all of us is that once he's accomplished that, he knows he can repeat that with a greater focus on his lifestyle, on his family, on the other goals he has. All our goals are different, but all of us have some desire for a great lifestyle. But it's only after he had created the systems that allowed him to sell a certain amount of CPO that he could do that while investing less time. Okay, it's very easy to, I think, take for granted how hard a lot of these top people work. And the reality is, though, by committing, by being willing to take on that extra burden, they set a new baseline that they can operate from. And by establishing these new breakthroughs, it's easier to sell 200K the second time, 300K, 400K, 500K, because you're operating with a newfound confidence. You have new confidence, you have new systems, you have new abilities. And so what this means, though, is we can't always just depend on getting better. Okay, sometimes we're on this nice curve of like, wow, I learned this script, or now I'm great with new customers, or my upgrade approach is on point. And so, we had this increase that comes from that. And we make this sort of false assumption that curve is just going to continue. Well, sometimes the only way that curve can continue for a period of time, the only way to prevent you from plateauing in a way that's counter to your goals is simply by putting yourself out there a little bit more. Okay, and by the way, there's nothing wrong with saying I'm totally great with the level that I'm working now, but I just don't think that's the culture. I don't think that's the culture in Midwest. It's certainly not in the Southwest. We know in each and every one of our businesses, there's always places that we could continue to advance the ball. It's so easy to fall into that trap of idolizing the lifestyle that you see other people living. Okay? Nobody lives cooler lives than CSPs, just so you guys know. Like, nobody lives a better life. When it comes down to being a DM, I love being a DM. That's my passion. That's my heart. But like the way DMs talk about the trips y'all do and things like that, it's crazy. But it's very easy to sort of, to not really understand the full picture and make false assumptions based on what you're seeing from the outside. I had a conversation with a CSP on my team about how Jason Jeffrey a few years ago took 5 months off in a single year. Okay? And basically that was a model that this rep was wanting to follow, which is fine if you've built the foundation and the systems that Jason has. It is not fine, though, if you're just using that as evidence to reinforce this false narrative you're telling about yourself, about what will be required to hit your goals, or how much you should be pushing and challenging yourself, or how hard your team should be working. For fun, I actually broke some of the numbers down with this rep. Now, I know for a fact the year that Jason took 5 months off, the time he was working, he committed to working 5 days a week. Okay? So for 7 months out of the year, he worked 5 days a week. For the other 5 months, he worked 0. And God bless him for it. He's a beast. I don't know if y'all know this. He's pretty good. Okay? What that translated into was 156 days of work for that calendar year. Okay? Now, this rep on my team, when we actually broke it down, was working about 48 weeks out of the year, taking off for company trips, Christmas, New Year's, a couple things like that. We figured out they needed to work 3.5 days every single week to hit that same number that Jason was doing in a year. Now, obviously, they work a lot of shows, but they don't work 48 shows a year. And they have a lot of days where they grind on service calls or phone times. But they also have a lot of days where they do one service call and another one fell through, they didn't do their schedule right, whatever it is happens. And the reality is, when we actually broke their calendar down, we found out that they were taking more than 5 months off every single year. Okay? On someone that literally every week, if you were to ask them, said they were working, they literally took more time off than Jason did. But unlike Jason, they didn't position themselves to have amazing experiences in the process. They just did it 2 to 4 days at a time. They never gave themselves permission to grind and build sustainable momentum. The reality is there was no intentionality to it. They just felt like they were working a lot because they were always thinking about working. And the reality is that it was just poor planning and execution. And honestly, I bet a lot of the people listening to this call are in the same place. They just don't realize it. And God knows as a manager, I've been there. And God knows as a rep, I've been there too. Okay? And for the record, there's nothing wrong with that if that's in line with your goals. But if you're not in a place where you're financially stable or you're happy with your current level of performance, then that's not a place that you can allow yourself to stay. Don't bow to the altar of being busy. Take a big step back and review your current schedule and calendar. But when you do this, you've got to go in curious. You've got to go in there looking for the opportunities where you can squeeze a little more out, not looking to prove some emotional point about how, you're giving it your all or you're so busy all the time. Sometimes what you'll find out is even that it's not that you even need to work more. Maybe there's just areas that you need to be partnering more. Okay? Maybe you need to free yourself up so you can focus on more high dollar activities, more key result areas. As a coordinator, a lot of the things that most coordinators do, I don't do. Okay? Like, I don't do chargebacks. I don't do booking request forms. I don't do those things. But it's not because I don't think they're important. I used to do all that stuff. But I don't do that because we have other people that we've empowered. I have other people I've partnered up with, and they're able to fill those roles for me. But by doing so, it allows me to execute other high dollar activities. I pay a lot of money every year to Vast Action for marketing. You cannot pay them a bad dollar. I know Josh is there. I think Amy's there. And the reality is, I do that though because it frees me up to do other things. I pay a lot of money to my office staff. I pay a lot of money to a personal assistant. But you got to understand, none of this is so I can work less. All of this is so I can then fill that time with more high dollar activities. Okay? Maybe you're not there yet, but I would challenge that everyone in this room, all of you are business owners. You should have a plan for how you can get there. Okay? Maybe you're working with an assistant, but do you have a strategic plan for what are the next activities or what's the higher level of service and performance they can have? Again, it's about intentionality. Maybe some of it's better work hygiene. Okay, maybe you're working a sufficient amount, but you're not getting the results from it you should be. For me, I'm big on state, like being in a physical state. When I'm working in my things for my district office, I'm always in my office. But when I'm working on things for the events program, I go to our pilot office. I'll have fewer distractions there, and it's just different the second I step in there. I wrote this talk at Starbucks because I write every talk I do at Starbucks. Okay, that's where I get caffeinated and jacked up and thoughtful. I don't know. And when I get tired, I get a pastry. It's great. Okay, but work hygiene is another thing that's highly underrated. What systems do you have to organize your business and run it more efficiently? For coordinators in the room, what systems do you have for your events team? Are you empowering your staff and other people on your team to where they can easily access information, to where they can accomplish tasks without constantly needing you, where they have a sense for how to resource or increase their opportunity by having tools and finding more shows? Things that take time out of your day, but if you would just devote the time to creating a system for it, it allows you to work more in the field. Okay? Or maybe even on the idea of working a little more, it's just a matter of we need to raise our standards on professionalism and efficiency, generating better results for the time that we are spending. Maybe part of that is when you break down your calendar. If you could work more sales and service events, it would allow you to meet with twice as many clients as service calls in that same time. I know none of this is like mind-blowing, but there's so many areas where we're just leaving CPO on the table, or we're leaving great lifestyle moves on the table. Part of the desire for me towards just total efficiency is because I'm a dad. Every day that I can finish everything I need to by 3 o'clock is the day I pick my kids up from school. And that's just a tremendous thing for me to do. But all this starts by taking full ownership of your schedule, taking time to strategically plan out your month, your campaign, and your year. And the thing I always tell our team is that if it's not in your schedule, it's not in your plan. Okay? Don't tell me how you're going to accomplish X or work more shows. Show me. Okay? Show it to me on your calendar. Don't tell me how you're going to get a script down. Show me on your calendar when you're doing it. Every campaign that you guys do as business owners deserves a day of focused, intentional, uninterrupted planning where you connect your goals, your commitments, and your growth focuses to your planner. It's going to allow you to visualize it. Okay? For a period of time, just commit. Work those 5 days a week, whether you're in the booth, doing service calls, demos, realtor work, phone time. If this is your job, freaking go to work. Earn the right, okay, to live the exciting life that everyone else will envy. And I got to tell you, the biggest drop-off with this is that people just accept that this job has to be streaky. Okay? They act like this is seasonal, like we're waiting for tax season or Black Friday. They'll grind for a period of time and produce really great results, but that tends to make them feel secure and confident, which is good, but when they settle into that, they plateau and it becomes complacency. Okay? And if they let themselves fall off by not being intentional with their schedule, that's always what happens. People are okay with following the natural rhythm or cycle of the year. During fairs, I sell a lot because there's a lot of customers. During pushes, I sell a lot because naturally there's a lot of activity. They're selling and you're grinding and you're doing a great job. Like, I know the results y'all create out there and it's exciting. But during other times of year, we accept that we must have slower weeks or lower sales instead of creating a proactive plan to generate more sales, to work in line with the goals that we have, with the challenges of living that great life and hitting your financial, potential, okay? We don't search for shows in that quieter time, or we don't set up our service events. We aren't planning a sales campaign with our past customers. We're not stacking the deck. The reality is in those times, we're letting the calendar happen to us instead of being proactive. Okay? My biggest tip when it comes to rocking your schedule as a rep, as a coordinator, as anything, is that we tend to overestimate what we can get done in a week, but we underestimate what we can accomplish in a month. Okay? We overestimate what we think we can get done in a campaign, but we underestimate what we could do in a year. And whether you're trying to implement great policies, if you're patient with rolling things out over a period of time, well, all of a sudden by the end of the year, you can reinvent your team. For yourself individually, if you're willing to not make these big commitments that you can never live up to that lead to discouragement, oh, this week everything's different. No, it's this week I'm going to take these steps, but next week I'm going to take these, and the week after I'm going to take these. It doesn't take long, and your business is unrecognizable. You've taken total ownership, you commit to working the schedule, and you accomplish your goals. Step number 1, don't be afraid to work more. I got more. Step number 2, get better, okay? Sorry, I'm very passionate about that first one, if y'all couldn't tell. Get better, guys. Good is the enemy of great. Good is the enemy of great. The challenge of working with a lot of the high performers that I get to spend time with is that you guys are so damn good. Like, y'all are so freaking good that when you already have a $3,000 shift average, it feels emotionally like you're not leaving a lot on the table. And also the amount of work it may take to go from $3,000 to $3,500 might be significant because you've gotten so good at the basics, at the fundamentals. Okay, so it's very easy to kind of hit this place where we just sort of accept, like, this is the cap on this show, or my skills or the customers I'm meeting with. What the best of the business understand, though, is that you have never arrived. As a professional, you're always a work in progress, and that's okay. Like, that's good news. That's not bad. It means that it can only get better from here if you're willing to work for it. But there should always be a specific area of intentional growth that you're working towards. And I've seen this so many times in my career. I didn't have this in my notes, but because he's sitting there, I have to share this. Josh gave a great example of this last year during the fair season. I get a chance to coordinate the state fairs with Josh. I coordinate the other events with Kelly Martins, and I just work with great people. But Josh had let it be known that his area of intentional focus and improving his skill set last year was going to be on flatware. Okay, he talked about that. And that's crazy to think because Josh, if you look at career sales leaders, had sold, he's in like the top 5 probably in company history for selling flatware chests. But he just saw the results that, Fonz Jenkins and Mike Dowwood and some other people were getting. And he just said, man, I know, especially with some of my past customers, I'm leaving some on the table. Like I've done scripts in the past that weren't as effective as I could be. And then I'm letting that be the excuse why I'm not presenting it again to people. When the reality is maybe I could have done better to begin with. And so that was his big focus. And on day one, opening day of the Oklahoma State Fair, opening day is actually kind of a slow day in Oklahoma. It's different in Texas. But on day one, I kind of listened to Josh, and at the end of the day, I just asked him, I said, hey man, I thought flatware was like your big focus. And he was like, yeah, no, it definitely is. And I just said, it just seemed like there was a few people you didn't really transition into it. And even when I heard you do your scripts, it sounded pretty much the same as every other time I've heard you do your script. And by the way, Josh at his script a year ago is way better than my script currently. We're all on our own path of growth. But what I love is that Josh just took that. He didn't get defensive. He didn't argue for why it was. He wasn't angry at himself. He just sort of took that as this like data point. And he said, you're right. And we were staying at an Airbnb, and that night, like Mike Dowwood had just this like cell phone video of him going through Fonz's flatware script, and Josh listened to that thing like 10 times. He scripted it out. Like he taped this to the back of the Ultimate set at his station for the entire rest of the fair season. And when he wasn't working with people, he was just like reading that over, and it was incredible. Like literally one day later, all of a sudden, this is like Josh Mueller 2.0. Okay? And guys, if someone at $5 million in sales can say, hey, I'm good, but I bet I could be better. I see someone else out there doing a thing I want to do too. Like if he's willing to do that, how could we not? How could I not? But part of that too with getting better is, are you letting people that you trust speak into your business in a positive way? Are you empowering people to challenge your growth? Josh knows he can always hold me accountable because I know the spirit it's coming from. I had the rapport with Josh where I could say that to him, and it wasn't coming from a place of sniping him or trying to take him down, but we've built that relationship over time and with shared experiences. If you don't have an immediate and specific answer for, who have you permitted to speak into your business, then there isn't anyone, just so you know. Because if you don't know right at the top of your head, they don't know either. And in which case, the relationship is not as meaningful as it should be. Are you avoiding positive accountability so that you don't become exposed? That's a terrible feeling. I know many CSPs who are better salespeople than me. I know that. I manage a lot who are better than me. I know that. They know that. I'm not insecure about that. But one of the reasons why we don't have conflict or drama is because I'm open to their positive influence. They know that as a manager, I have a unique set of skills that I'm really going to bring. In the field, they're amazing. And together, we're going to build things that are even better. Okay? But we've given each other permission to speak into our existence. It's amazing the difference it makes. When you think about getting better, Okay, that was just a giant tangent, but with Josh there, I had to share that. Guys, when you think about getting better, what about your package focus? In TGP, we preach that you should only need to talk to 4 to 5 prospects a day to create a $2,000 day. And by the way, on service calls, you should only need to do 2 or 3 service calls, to have a $1,000 day, if not more. But to do that requires a package focus. Too many reps focus on pieces, on sets, but the best in the booth and the best in the business have a package mindset. We did an activity years ago at one of our meetings for how many $1,000 packages could we come up with. And it was, sets, upgrades, flatware, cookware, business gifts, okay? You'll hear me reference that a few times. Business gifts, complete accessories. Accessories shouldn't be like they bought some cutting boards. It should be, hey, here's $1,000 to clean out your junk drawer, okay? Family program and also hunting packages. Do you know how not to just sell these items, but how to confidently introduce the package concept and transition your customers there? Okay, this is a thing that anyone can learn. We have taught the Cutco Kitchen to new team members on our team, and we have had reps at 40 grand in sales pop out of Cutco Kitchen. Okay, like this is something anyone can learn to do. But again, it's getting these things so internalized. It's holding yourself to such a high standard that you can pull this out anytime you need to. If someone comes up to the booth and says, how much are the shears? How do you answer that? Do you say, oh, they're 112? Or do you say, oh, actually the shears are only 112 by themselves, but would you like to see the discount package that includes them? Nugget. By the way, not mine. Okay, not mine. If someone says, how much is a pocket knife? Do you say, oh, the pocket knife is only $60? Or do you say, hey, the pocket knife is only $60, but it actually comes in our outdoor package, which is a way better value. Hey, can I show that to you just for fun? Okay, and you all of a sudden are starting with a framework of, hey, here's a package of outdoor knives that costs $900. Oh, you don't need that? Okay, cool. We'll just get you that K-Bar Fisherman's Solution. We'll get you a pocket knife for free. All these little things, these are the stepping stones. Having a package focus is not just about selling them a flatware chest, cookware, and a million hunting knives in every order. It's that by starting higher, we all know this, it allows us to fill out our order. Our upsells happen in a whole different way. Now, you might think you're strong in those areas, but do the numbers actually say that? Do they support that? Are you really maxing out these different channels that we have available to us? Or are there scripts that you could commit the next month to mastering? Seth Kinzer this year so far, year to date, has closed $20,000 worth of cookware in the booth. Okay? Just cookware, $20,000. Kelly Martins has sold over $11,000 in business gifts year to date at traditional shows. Not like builder shows, just normal home and garden, weird whatever type events she's in. I've personally sold almost $4,000 in hunting knife packages this year. Okay. Last fall, there was a wellness mat competition that lasted for a couple weeks. I was actually number 2 in the nation. I sold 41 mats for that couple week period of time, and I doubled the person that came in number 3. Well, number 1 was Josh, and Josh doubled me. He sold 82 mats in that period of time. But between me and Josh, we generated over $12,000 in CPO of wellness mats. Okay? Now, you could tell me, yeah, I didn't get my bonus, whatever, who cares? That was 100% additive, literally all upsells. Okay? Speaking of Josh, God, he'll probably talk about this later, but he sold $12,000 on Saturday at a service event this weekend. Guys, you don't sell $12,000 in a day without a focus on packages. Okay? I don't sell business gifts because I haven't mastered that script, or at least I don't sell them to the level I should. I'm working, I'm progressing, but I don't beat myself up for that. Rather, I'm empowered by knowing the next area of my business that I am choosing to develop. Okay, so when you do this self-assessment, okay, when you start to go through these things, don't fall into this narrative to try and preserve your ego by saying stupid things. Okay, like I've had people tell me, oh, people up here don't hunt. Okay, well, what are you gonna say about other packages? Oh, people here don't cook food in pans. People don't own businesses. They don't use forks. Like, what are you talking about? Okay? Like, the opportunity is there. The customers are the same all over. That's why we sell everywhere. If you're not selling these packages regularly, then either you don't know your scripts or you aren't presenting them consistently. And in either case, you're not executing like the high performer you're capable of being. Okay? That's the challenge. All right? And iron sharpens iron. You've got the community there already that can allow you to do it. Be smarter in the booth. Be smarter in the field. Master scripts to improve your average. Handle objections by interacting with people better. Drop down effectively. Get into the nitty-gritty of what is holding customers back. And guys, beyond that, make sure that you're upselling on every order. I think a lot of people think they're better at upselling than they are. And the reason I say that is because I work with a lot of people in the field that when they upsell, they're very good at it. But they don't have systems in place to hold themselves accountable for how often they're upselling. Okay? The reality is we track our upsells on every shift we do in the booth. So our team knows what percentage they're upselling on. What you appreciate appreciates. Okay? The last key to increasing your averages and just doing better is to fight limiting beliefs that lead to complacency. That's always where they go. Okay? People are okay with the numbers they're getting. Like let's just be honest. Most people in Vector, managers, CSPs, DVMs, they're okay with the numbers they're getting. They say they're not, but their activities don't line up with that. Okay? Don't tell yourself your show isn't good enough that you have access to work. Don't tell yourself your customers aren't good enough. Don't tell yourself that you're not good enough. Just like I don't tell myself my reps aren't good enough. Just get better. Make a plan and just get better. Number 3, okay? You got to know your numbers. All right, this one's not sexy. This is not fun. I don't have great stories for this, but I can just tell you guys that I love seeing how many CSPs are taking just this empowered approach to running their business because you guys are business owners. But it is crucial that you track your numbers. High performers use data rather than going off assumptions of their performance. I had a conversation with a rep recently who was at $1.5 million in sales, and I was asking him about service calls and specifically how they had improved on service calls over the last few years. And they said, hang on just a sec for me. They pulled out their laptop, they pulled up this spreadsheet, and they showed me all their service call stats for the last 4 years. How many they did, how many calls it required. I mean, like some Rain Man stuff. It was crazy. Okay? Now look, I don't get that detailed. Like, I'm not even close, and you don't have to do that to be successful, but I still respect the spirit that went into that. What you appreciate appreciates. The fact he prioritized knowing how's my service call business made his service call business better. Okay? For us in the booth, we track daily stats. We track how many orders did you get? How much did you sell? How many service calls did you collect? What were your past customer sales? And what were your upserving stats? Or what were your upselling stats? And by doing this, our people can look at their campaigns and actually see where they're at. You know, how many service calls have I collected versus completed? Where's the gap there? Okay? You know, are we not following up the way we should? Knowing your numbers and sharing them openly, and I will really say this for the coordinators in the room, it creates community and it creates accountability. You know, for everyone on our leadership group in TGP, our top 12 CSPs, we share all of our stats. All of them are public to every single person on the team. Shift averages, order totals, total sales, any stat you could come up with. Every single week in our team group me, I share the campaign to date sales report so everybody knows exactly where they stand in line with their goals and in line with the rest of the team. Okay? We practice public accountability, but we do it in a very supportive space. What's important isn't where you stand compared to other people. What's important is where do you stand in relationship to your goals. And if you're not satisfied with where you are in relationship to your goals, what changes could we help you make to help you get back on track? That's the reason why we share those numbers. Okay, you know, who are you working with and around? And what's amazing is that there's this organic community of support that starts to form. But part of that journey for us getting to this place, it wasn't always that way, was getting real about our results. Once we connected our actual results to the activities we were putting forth, we became more self-aware individually and collectively. We start to see the low-hanging fruit, those opportunities where a little concentrated activity could really bear those results. Guys, you don't have to be the best at everything. Don't beat yourself up because you're not super great at business gifts. You might be the best there ever was at upgrades. But you should always know what is the next needle mover for you and for your team for that matter. And it goes beyond just going, you know, how am I at this script? Okay, stats can answer way more questions than that. Stats can tell you how well do you work with other people in the booth? Are other people's stats higher when they work with you? Are you a positive influence for people on the team? And then by knowing that sometimes you're not, maybe that makes you more intentional about bringing energy, about encouraging people, about high-fiving your customers. Are you taking responsibility for creating the environment that you and other people are existing in the booth? You can't hide from numbers. That's why they're important. You can get mad at them, you can get defensive about them, but they always tell a story. And you shouldn't be afraid of the story that they tell, okay? One last note on the numbers. And then we'll wrap up with the fourth key, and you guys will move on to some other great speakers. But one last note on, I think, why a lot of people don't track the numbers in the way that they should. If you don't have the right relationship with your goals, the stats and numbers can become demotivating. Okay? Seeing other people outperform you becomes evidence that you use, again, in this false narrative that we tell ourselves about our abilities or about our opportunities. And guys, this is not healthy and this is not helpful. And for me, I feel it. Man, I feel it. Like, I'm in the field a lot in the fall and spring, but in the summer, I don't step foot in the field. Like, I'm a DM. I have to be in my office grinding. And every week, I see my name dropping down that list. And it sucks. It's not a good feeling. And sometimes emotionally, I have to check myself. Okay, and make sure that I'm not using that feeling as an excuse to kind of check out from really monitoring my results. We do not weaponize our results as a means to beat ourselves down. We look at our stats like the business owners that we are. They do not reflect who you are. They just reflect how you're currently running your business. Okay, and once you dial that emotion back just a little bit, you realize that if you don't like the story the results are telling, you have the power to change them. Okay, you always have the power to change them. What does stats say about the opportunity everywhere? Guys, with the Eventalytics now, like, it's super fun. I'm not going to do a big detour on that, but, shout out to Dave Bush. Watch some stuff from the net meeting, but Eventalytics are crazy. Some stats I looked at. The Texoma division has sold as many cookware sets as the Midwest region year to date. Now, I'm not saying that to be a jerk. I'm saying that because, holy crap, what an amazing area of opportunity. If you guys all band together and go, screw you guys down south, we're going to sell more cookware than everywhere, you got so much firepower that's waiting to be unleashed. Your region has sold 15 more flatware chests than my team of 15 people. Okay? Now, that tells me, and again, I'm not saying this to be a jerk, I'm just telling you stats are stats. And what that tells me is that if I helped every single person on my team sell one extra flatware chest for the next 2 campaigns, we could probably beat your region. Okay? And again, I'm not saying any of this to be condescending. There's so many areas you guys are dominant. But I'm saying this because whatever you need the numbers to be, if you need them to kick your own butt, if you need them to talk trash, if you need them to identify areas of growth and opportunity, the numbers are there. But you have to make use of them, and you have to have the right relationship to them. Okay? Guys, the fourth key to having your best year ever, and the fourth key to your events team and, really having just the breakout that it deserves is investing in your business. Okay? So again, number 4, work more. Number 1 was work more. Number 2 is get better. Number 3 is know your numbers. And number 4 is invest in your business. I think out of all the things I've shared today, this is probably the most important. Successful entrepreneurs are constantly answering the call to growth. You are your own boss, and that means you are accountable most directly to yourself, okay? As humans, we grow one of 2 ways, okay? We either grow through intentional, planned effort, or we grow through circumstances that we go through, positive or negative, okay? You become a deeper person because you read a great book, you write some poems, and you spend time in the classroom of silence, or you become a better person because you have a death in the family, and you're just forced to confront morality and humanity, and you just have to do it. Okay? Those are the 2 ways that we grow. And if you're always waiting for things to happen to you to trigger this growth, to trigger this advancement for yourself, then you're going to be in this place of just quiet complacency. You have plateaued. Okay? And so even though it may be hard to admit, most of us professionals, we go through long stretches where we're not on that path of growth. We just kind of accept that status quo. We wouldn't describe it that way, but that's the way we're living our life. And so when I talk about investing, yes, money is part of it. Absolutely. You should throw a lot of money at a lot of problems in your life, and you'll be shocked how many of them go away. But when I think about investing, there's 3 areas that I choose to invest in. There's 3 areas I hold myself accountable to always being able to say, how am I investing in my business? Number 1 is my focus and my energy. Okay? How am I investing, or where am I investing my focus and my energy? Number 2, where am I investing my time? And number 3, where am I investing my money? Okay? Focus and energy, time, and money. So let's start with focus. Have you taken a step back and self-assessed, your level of focus and intensity? How intentional are you being with your training, with your customer interactions, with your schedule? Okay? How many excuses are you making to justify a distracted lifestyle? Are you on your phone when you're at the booth? Are you giving yourself the power of full focus? Do you like to tell people how you're so great at multitasking? Hey, just so you know, all of science disagrees with you. All of science. Every one of you sucks at multitasking. You're ADD, that's different. Okay? Every speaker we have at our meeting in TGP, I always end with the same question, okay? I ask, what's the one thing that they're working on their personal or professional development for this year? Like, what's the number one area they're trying to develop? And I've asked this to Matt Graves, Ray Reed, Drew Frank, Matt Foss, Chelsea Banks, Fonz Jenkins, and many more people this year. And the thing that always impresses me isn't what their answer is, but rather that every single one of them, without exception, has an immediate answer. Okay? This question did not take them by surprise because high achievers are intentional about their growth. They've already set their intention. They've already set their focus. Answering objections, business gifts, improving my inner circle, improving as a mentor. I've heard so many inspiring answers from just champions in the business that immediately know what they're about and what 2018 can represent for them. They will not let this be a year that slides by. They will let this be a year where they take captive of it. Okay? And they don't just say that, they're living it with their decisions, with their intentionality. You know? Do you know the one thing that would immediately impact your business going forward? And if not, you're not gifting yourself the focus in your business. You lack clarity and intentionality. And the problem is that even when you invest your time, without that focused intensity, a lot of it will have been wasted. Okay? Focus and energy. I can't stress that enough. The second area that high performers invest is their time. We're all great salespeople, and we can always sell ourselves on anything. We talked about a package focus. I asked some people on my team, how good are you at your hunting knife package script? And what I heard was, I know how to sell hunting knives. Okay? And I called them out because that was not the question. That's moving the goalpost. If you're not selling packages of blank, you haven't mastered that script. Are you focused on mastering scripts or satisfied with understanding facts and concepts? Because that's what a lot of people do. When we ask, hey, do you know this script? What they really mean is I know facts, I know details, I know concepts. But guys, I guarantee you Josh is going to say a dozen times today, the best salespeople use the best scripts. Okay? Because he always reminds me of that. Field training with the greats, you will hear them consistently, confidently deliver the most important scripts. And to do that, it takes time. Okay? At our State Fair prep meeting every year, we take an entire day to drill scripts, role play, and focus on best practices. We make Hall of Famers who are at millions of dollars in sales fly down into Texas and role play from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. And then we have a barbecue at my house, okay? Because that's what we do in Texas. All right, we will have $25 million in career sales practicing flatware scripts for 45 minutes and then cookware for an hour and then how to bang a gong correctly for 15 minutes. Long story, totally worth it. We'll do business gifts for another hour. No one is too cool for school. No one ever says, I already know that. Okay? And honestly, if someone does, my answer to them is always, great. The camera is rolling. Do it for all of us so we can document it going forward. Okay? Are you investing time going through audios and videos? Dave Bush makes amazing content available through the Cutco Events app. And not just you, but your team. There's a lot of stuff you guys know, but you can't always be supporting the people around you. You need to arm them with resources and teach them how to be independent learners. Josh sends out free audio interviews every single week, and these things are fields of diamonds. So many of our speakers that we have at our meetings are because I heard them talk on Josh's audio first. That's how I've expanded my network in the CSP community. You know, my team cranks out a ton of content that we make available on our website and through other channels. We're a totally open book down here. And once you find something impactful, though, how are you digesting it? Are you giving it the time that it needs? Matt Foss did an amazing cookware talk for my team last summer. It was incredible. And in the past, here's what we would have done. We would have listened to it one time. We would have gone, wow, that's great. We'd have taken 2 lines and used them occasionally, and we would have always meant to go back to it. That would have been the end of it. Okay? That's not best practices, though. That's not how real champion business owners operate. On my team now, when we latch onto something, we listen to it as a group. Okay? We role play the concepts. We share our takeaways. In fact, Matt's talk last year was so good, we spent 4 months on cookware for our team meetings throughout the summer and into the fall. Literally added cookware, talk, or role play to every meeting the entire campaign, which concluded with a 2-hour role-playing session where we had 4 booths set up doing nothing but cookware. Okay? It was never a lack of available resources. It was a lack of discipline to follow through on using them. We weren't investing our time as a team, and we weren't investing our time as individuals. Find your key focus area. Put the time in your calendar today for when you will drill that topic. Make decisions now. You know, when emotion is high, intelligence is low. When you get busy with your week and other responsibilities, that's not the time to make the commitment on when I will budget and schedule my time. You need to make that now because it's in line with your priorities. No cell phone, no distractions, no excuses. Just do it and watch the results come. Check your ego so that your pride doesn't limit your paycheck. Okay? It's amazing when you give yourself the gift of time to certain areas of your business, the difference that it makes. Guys, I'll tell you right now, there will be no emotionally satisfying epiphany that changes everything in your business going forward. It's not coming today. It's not coming at the net meeting next year. It's never coming. Okay? The way you will reinvent yourself is by grinding it out quietly with no fanfare when nobody is watching. It's by building a community of people who will both love you and kick your ass. It's about setting your intentions, you're scheduling your time, and you're following through. You treat the commitments to yourself with integrity, and over time, the results speak for you. Okay? If it's not in your schedule, it's not in your plan. Treat the commitments you make to yourself with integrity. Okay? The last area is financial. Okay, and it's easy to spend other people's money, but how you spend your money reflects your priorities. And if you're not spending money on your business, I mean, can you really say it is a priority? I mean, that would be my challenge. The reality is, if you drop a crappy looking booth into a great show, it will sell less. I don't care how good you are. Okay? If I put Curtis into a booth that looks like garbage, he will sell less. The best in the business are constantly investing in themselves and in their business financially. Maybe when you're new, it means buying display boards for shows. Okay? It's a more high dollar first impression you can make to your clients. As you advance and invest, maybe it's buying a booth as you get more advanced, having a full set of cookware, having your full flatware chest. You know, how full is your kit? You know, do you have steak knives in your signature and ultimate set? Are you putting out empty blocks? Do you have backdrops? You know, all these things are areas you can invest. On our team, and this is a very extreme example, and it's not normal, but we spent $12,000 over a 4-month period of time from December to March buying supplies for our events program. And I'm about to place an order for $4,000 of tablecloths. Now, these are not normal, and that's not the answer. You don't have to have that level of resource. But here's what's cool is when you're disciplined with whatever level of resources you have, well, as your resources increase and your results improve, you just apply the same discipline. You never stop investing. Okay? Mentoring is such a huge thing, guys. I won't even go down that rabbit trail. It would take too much time. But top reps are always investing in mentoring relationships. I've had a lot of people ask me if they would do, if I would do coaching with them for coordinator stuff. And my answer has always been the same. Hey man, I'll grab a free call with you once or twice a year, but honestly, you can't pay me enough for me to commit to that type of relationship. Okay? And so there's nothing wrong with reaching out to people, and our community is very giving, but I can tell you, if you will financially commit to a relationship with someone, they will prioritize your time, your business, and your money on a higher level. Don't be afraid to do that, guys. Don't be afraid to do that. Is everyone on your team going to the net meeting every year? Last year we had 12 people on our team at the net meeting. This year we'll have even more. Is everyone signed up for the virtual summit? Don't tell me how good you are. Like, if you're that good, great, sign up so you can hear John Rulin, because he's better than you. He's better than all of us, apparently. Okay? And if not, I bet Josh, Curtis, Jason, and everyone else is. It doesn't always have to be financial. Do you have an accountability partner? Are you using Vector Connect? Are you using the Cutco Events audio? None of this matters. It's just about consistently working on your education. Once you figure out what you need to get good at, you put together a plan for how you will develop that area. You invest the time to get it done. You do the grind work, you improve your technique, you drill the script, and you do it until it's there. There's no secret about it. Okay, so I guess my last thought on this would just be write down these 3 questions in your notes or on a sheet of paper. Okay, when you think about investing, where is my focus? Where am I spending my time? And where am I spending my money? When you think about how you're investing in your business, where is my focus? Where am I spending my time? And where am I spending my money? Answer those truthfully, okay? And then ask yourself, is your plan sufficient to get you to your goals? Ask yourself those hard questions, and if not, commit to a better path going forward. Because guys, if you don't have a plan, you will always have to settle for incremental growth. You've never arrived. Spend time this week in your strategic plan and how you'll invest in your business. Guys, my number one wish for every single one of you is that maybe some small thing I've said or something you're going to hear in the next 2 days can just challenge and empower you to take control of your business. Everyone wants to be successful. No matter where you are, though, you can reinvent yourself, but it won't happen on accident. Take control of your business. I love being an entrepreneur. Okay, it's the American dream, and I love the fact that I can always take control of my results. I never have to take a pay cut. If I'm willing to take control, I can improve my lifestyle by being more efficient. If I'm willing to take control, I can reinvent myself year after year and be afforded more opportunities. If I'm willing to take control, everything gets better. The question is, are you ready to take control, or will you be satisfied with whatever you get in 2018? Okay? I'm not willing to accept what I get. And the reality is I'll continue to kick my butt, and I'll continue to surround myself with people who will do the same for me. I'm very grateful to be an entrepreneur. I'm grateful to be a part of the community of CSPs, and I don't take that for granted as a district manager. You guys don't have to let me in the sandbox, but you do, and I appreciate it. And I just hope that you guys don't forget that we are living the American dream of business ownership. Don't take it for granted. Follow the steps the highest performers have laid out for us, and go out there and get your quantum leap. And from at least one random coordinator slash DM slash guy who sells knives in the Southwest region, I can't wait to see the Midwest Empire grow. So thank you guys so much for your time.
Wow, let's give him a hand. I made a mistake and I did not record that. Can you start over? Dude, that was absolutely stellar. Thank you so much for sharing and for your time. We don't, you guys, any one or two quick questions? Brian, I don't know if you have any time.
I'm good. I've got time.
Guys, any quick questions for Brian? I know I was intrigued by, this was one of the emails that Josh sends out to everybody about the steak knives.
Yeah.
The big and bold steak. I think you sell to 70% of your customers that buy steak knives. Is that accurate?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm just curious. Can you give us 2 or 3 tips on that? Because I'm curious.
Yeah, 100%. And this is something we've got scripts and videos on that I'll shoot to Josh and he can send out. But the steak knives are amazing. It's I kind of laugh. I think within the larger CSP community, it's probably my best contribution. But when it comes to the steak knives, it's all about positioning. We close our sets as we always would. And by the way, you can totally teach new reps to do this. It's not hard because it doesn't affect anything up to the point of closing. We position the larger steak knives as 100% as an upserve. Okay, it's always an upsell. So therefore, there's no scenario where it messes with our ability. Like sometimes I've seen reps in the booth where they close someone on their set, but then they're like, hey, but did you want the bigger steak knives? And a confused mind doesn't decide. It ends up, the customer just agreed to something and then we're like, hey, why don't you just pay more? And it doesn't position things the right way. So when it comes to steak knives, just follow the rules of upserving. Okay, get their credit card. You don't do anything until you already have their credit card. And then you say, hey, just so you know, since you're getting this set, we actually do have 2 options on your table knives or steak knives. Okay, so hey, let me show them to you real quick because I would hate for you to come back years later and see the other option and go, oh my gosh, my Cutco guy didn't even show me that. Okay, so you just show it to him. Hey, we have 2 options. Okay, and you hand them a table knife and a steak knife. The table knife right here is the one that traditionally comes in the set, and this is the budget option. Okay, it's a really great option. It'll perform really well. It helps keep the price at a level that a lot of our customers are really excited about, and it's made of the same high-grade steel, same great quality material. So whichever one you get, you'll be happy with. But the table knife is a budget option because it's got about 1/3 as much steel, but it still cuts really well. Now, get a feel for this one. And you guys already see how this works, okay? It's just psychology. Once you said budget option, like when I was sort of practicing this, I did that on my wife, and she literally goes, why the hell do we have the budget option? Okay, and I'm like, because that's a made-up term that doesn't mean anything. She goes, yeah, but I don't want the budget option. So then I got to buy 12 steak knives, so yay, good on me. So anyway, but once you've done that, you just go, hey, here's the more traditional style steak knife. Honestly, they're both are going to do really great. You're going to be happy with it, whichever one you get. But I got to tell you, Mrs. Jones, I just find most of my customers over a lifetime, they just feel like those bigger ones are much more in line with their expectations for their high quality set of knives. So most of my customers do prefer the bigger ones. Now, I got to tell you, the bigger ones, they've got 3 times as much steel, so they do cost more. But the good news is they're not 3 times the price. They just charge the difference in materials. Like, and if you wanted to buy 10 of these later, it's going to be $720. But if you just want to add them on to that signature set you're getting, let me get the bigger ones for you. We can upgrade it. It's just going to be like $250. I don't know, extra $50 a month to get what you want. So, hey, you tell me, which one can I do for you? Slam dunk. 70%.
Dude, I want to start. That was awesome.
Yep.
That was fan. Very cool. Any other? Thank you for the bonus package there. Any other questions for Brian, guys? Brian, what's your team website that you use? Ray Sumner asked.
Yeah, absolutely. Our team website, like, and by the way, if we stand on the shoulders of giants, everything good we do in TGP started because Josh Muller, Patton Sides, Robert Danbury, so many gracious people opened the doors to us. So if there is anything that we have that's useful to y'all, man, steal it and steal it with pride. You know, slap your logo on the top. I don't even care. So our website, it's mcdistrict.com. So MC District. It's literally just my team website for my district office, mcdistrict.com/events. Okay? And Josh can give this to every single one of you guys, mcdistrict.com/events. You will find training videos that we do. We have role-playing videos for every major script. We have our comprehensive policy document, which I could spend literally an hour just talking about policy. Josh knows that. It's got scripts we use. It's got all of our digital stat submission. Everything we do as a team that's useful to anyone is on the website.
Awesome. By the way, I just want to share, I'm going to steal your quote, give yourself permission to grind.
Love it.
I like that. Full credit, of course, for years to come, but that was awesome. So, hey, dude, again, thank you for taking time on your busy schedule and sharing the goods. It was truly epic content. So thanks a lot.